Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are joined here by Dustin Brauns. Excited to have him as the co-founder and CEO of Gas Boys. Yeah, he's based out of High Point, North Carolina, and we're going to talk to him today more about all the work he does and all the products he can help you with, because really there's some quite a few game changers out there. I was looking at all your products and all that you do. So first and foremost, let me say welcome to the show, Dustin. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jill. Hope you are.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm excited to learn more about all that you do. And this is amazing because a lot of this has become legal. And I know your products can go to certain areas. Let's just talk a little bit about what gasboys.co is.
So gasboys.co is our direct consumer brand. We launched it about 2 years ago in our local area, and we got so much craze. It was just insane. People were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this was accessible. I thought I had to go to, a legal state, Colorado,
Yeah.
California. So there was a huge lack of education. And I think everybody was under the impression that hemp was only CBD and that there was no other forms of hemp. Where high THCA hemp is becoming the most popular and fastest growing product type in this industry. And we're in roughly 21 states with our wholesale side of things. We also service about 34 states direct to consumer. And we're doing about a couple hundred packages a day.
Oh my
all
gosh.
all direct to consumer. And it's incredible. I mean, the reviews are great. People are so happy. We're economical, but we offer things that other people don't, like full panel testing. So we test for heavy metals, bacterias, molds, residual solvents, all sorts of stuff. So public safety is our number one concern. People are going to ingest this. We want to treat it like something that's going to be, on a grocery store shelf that has quality control involved, not just something from somebody's backyard that they grew, under their tomato plants. So,
Like my
we
brother
really
used to do.
yeah. And I'm sure there's plenty of people listening in that are like, yeah, I've done that. You can. Home grows are, I'm not going to downplay them at all, but we wanted to be the industry standard as far as that's concerned. We do a huge amount of lobbyist and compliance work with local and federal law enforcement and senators, congressional members. And this is our way of showing them that this is a safe method of consuming.
Beautiful. So you're a premier THCA flower company. You say you get your hemp products nationwide, and you offer high quality THCA hemp flower, pre-rolled joints, other products sourced from local farms, as you mentioned, all compliant here. And let me ask, also I know you want to talk a little bit about the farm to customer, right? And that aspect of this. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that? Is that the farm bill conversation, right?
Yeah, so the farm bill is in a limbo state. That's the bill that allows us to do what we do. It is the bill that came in back in 2016 and started to unravel this whole hemp thing. Prior to that, hemp was a naughty term. People didn't understand it. They thought it was like textiles and ropes and garments, which is true. There is a lot of bedding. You can actually make hempcrete, like concrete, out of hemp. It actually has a better tensile strength than regular concrete, and it lasts forever. It's also antimicrobial. So there was a real lack of understanding of what hemp entirely was, and the Farm Bill defined that. And then we've been able to modify our growing mediums, modify our harvesting cycles, and how we test as well, and the labs that we use to be able to give these products to the consumers and still remain Farm Bill compliant. Currently, it is still being kicked around in Congress. There's a bunch of fighting on both sides of how to improve it or modify some language. So it'll be interesting to see in the next year. But I will say, our biggest battle right now is the MSOs, the multi-state operators. They're in the marijuana space and they hate us. They think that we took a cheat code and they do not, they're not friendly. So we're trying to combat them in the sense of we don't want to be enemies. We want to work together.
Okay.
to give this to the public. The whole point of us doing, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. The whole point of this is for
You're
medical benefit.
like, yeah, no, absolutely. Let's
So
talk about some of the benefits of this, please.
yeah, the one that got me involved with it was cancer research. A bunch of family members and close friends and people that are
Okay, yeah.
acquaintances had been battling with sicknesses, even if they were on the chemo or radiation. They couldn't eat, they were losing weight, had no appetite. And that was the first thing that I started just giving it away.
Yeah.
This was almost 10 years ago. I was just giving it away to those people, and the results were just incredible. Remission stories, appetite increase stories, just true quality of life changes. That's what got me really interested. Is like, okay, what's doing this in the plant? How is it doing it? And then how do we bring this to the mass market? So I think that even if it's not a cancer drug, it will help your quality of life and alleviate a lot of the symptoms that come from those cancer treatments. And then what I started noticing is for somebody like myself who's ADHD, I can take 5 milligrams of gummy in the morning and 5 milligrams after lunchtime, and I don't have that constant chatter all
Yep.
day long in my brain. It doesn't impair me. I can sit here and do things like this all day long and have no impact to my awareness or my functionality.
Yeah.
But I noticed that I didn't have to take Xanax. I didn't have to take any of those prescriptions, which I
Mm-hmm.
was given right out of high school. The doctor's like, "Oh, you got ADHD. Let's slow your mind down. Here's a pill." Well, those
Right.
pills have side effects and they're
Yep.
addictive. This isn't. This has no side effects other than you might feel a little more hungry than normal. Past that, there are no side effects.
Wow. Well, let
I
me get,
joke with
oh, go
I joke
ahead.
with people all the time that the only way you're going to negatively be impacted by cannabis or hemp is if you get run over by a truck full of it.
That's great. I've never heard that. That's awesome. Well, before
Yeah.
we talk more about everything you have to offer here, and by the way, there's two different websites. Could you just share what they both are again?
Yeah, so gasboys.co is obviously our direct to consumer. That's going to be anybody that is just an average individual citizen or wants to try it out. That's going to be for them. Store owners, distributors,
Okay.
wholesalers, those are going to be for moderndistribution.com. That is our parent company. Modern does everything as far as wholesale is concerned and distribution is concerned. So it is kind of a two heads to the same snake, essentially. Uh, and yeah, so anybody that wants to pick it up in the stores can obviously set up a wholesale account with Modern, and anybody that wants to try it just for their personal benefit can go to gasboys.co.
Perfect. Well, let me ask just a little bit about your background. Would you mind sharing where you grew up and how you got into this business and just share a little bit of your personal journey?
Yeah, so grew up in High Point, where we're at.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. So
Yeah,
you're same
yeah.
spot.
Actually, on High Point University campus, what's now High Point University campus. It used to be High Point College, which is now just exploded. The entire city has just
Okay.
exploded over the last few years. Went through high school, obviously, and then headed out west. Spent a bunch of time out west working with recreational markets. What I learned really quickly was the growers only wanted to grow, and the store
Yep.
owners only wanted to sell. So there was
Uh-huh.
this big gap in between of how do you get the flour and the raw materials from the farms to the actual table at the consumer level.
Okay.
And they didn't want to, like, nobody wanted to do both. They wanted
Hmm.
to pick their side. So I came in as the intermediary and started setting up the supply chains for those guys. So I was the one that was running the packages up and down to the processors, doing the co-packing, label reviews,
Wow.
box creation, whatever it was. And then the recreational market kind of started going a little crazy. There was a big state versus Fed thing going on for a couple years. So I kind of took a back seat and then started looking at international supply chain as a career path. So I like the supply chain. I like the logistics. I like
Hmm.
seeing large shipments move and how it's done. And so we started doing international cargo, moving
Wow.
the stalks and stems and leaves to places like Korea and Taiwan and Vietnam, and then
Wow.
they would turn them into pillowcases and linens and garments and stuff like that. And that went really, really well up until COVID hit. We were doing almost $1 million a month, and just in international supply. And then COVID hit and it just bottomed out. Nobody was looking for that. They switched to medical devices. So then
Ah,
we kind of quickly pivoted into a medical device company, and we were moving containers of gowns and masks and sanitizer and you name it. Even I had one company that I sourced 1,300 ambulances for a municipality up in the Northeast. And
wow.
it just got in crazy. It got crazy. I was working 18, 19, 20-hour days every day, 7 days a week doing that. And then at the tail end of 2021, all the big guys got organized into 2022. It was
Oh,
almost impossible to even get container ships.
oh
So
my goodness.
somebody like myself that didn't have, $100 million slush fund, uh, it was
Right?
really tough for me to compete with these billion-dollar supply chain and logistics operations. So
Wow.
then that's when I was like, okay, let's check back in on our passion, which is the hemp and cannabis industry. And it was just booming. And there was a big gap where people were really kind of in a limbo state with the whole COVID thing. And so we started scaling, started growing, used all of our resources, all of our money and everything. And now we're sitting very, very pretty. We've got a little over 50 head count here in North Carolina. We're setting up a third warehouse and corporate office up in Cincinnati, Ohio as
Wow.
well. So we'll have,
Congratulations. This
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
Small town guy becomes big town, the big time.
Well,
Like, my gosh, your family
Well,
must be
we
so
still
proud.
want to remain humble because I tell all of our employees like I'm one of the lowest paid individuals in the company for what I do, and I do that because I want our employees to be happy. I want them to be first and the focus in the company. And I think if you took a poll, everybody's just ecstatic. Like we don't have call outs, we don't have people coming in late for work. They're actually here early, waiting for the door to open. So it's great. We've really built a culture that's based around the employees, not around some CEO getting paid crazy money and everybody else just fights for the scraps. So it's worked out really well for us.
How many employees do you have, if you mind me asking?
As of yesterday, 52, and
God
we've got another,
bless.
yeah, and then we plan on
Wow.
hiring another 13 for the Ohio office by the end of the year. So we'll have just shy of 70 by New Year's.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. This is amazing. Go to gasboys.co. Do you want to talk now about, my goodness, there's so much that you offer. So, where did you want to start?
I mean, I'm a flower purist at the end of the day.
Okay, what is a flower purist for those that may not know? Go ahead.
So flour is the most unadulterated version. It is the most pure form. I mean, it was literally from a seed, God given.
Yeah.
It grows naturally. It has for eons. There's even
And what type of
research.
flowers are we talking about here?
The
Educate
THCA,
me.
hemp, yeah, the
Okay, okay.
THCA hemp flowers. Yep, yep. So as you see, if you go to gasways.co, you can see
Yep.
that we have the exotic flowers.
I'm
So it
there.
is
I'm
just,
searching around. I'm in the
yep,
corner here peeking around at the website as we
mm-hmm,
talk. I'm like,
yep.
whoa.
Yep, yep. So any of those, they come in just bulk packages. You can grind them. You can add them into a vaporizer. You can cook with them. We've seen a lot of people that buy our budget options and then they add butter, cook them in the stove, add it into their pasta, and they've
Wow.
got an infused pasta for dinner. The pre-rolls also do really well because it's the easy, just grab and go. You have no work involved. You just light it and keep it moving. Gummies also do very, very well for the people that don't want to combust anything and inhale anything. And then the concentrates for the people that have the really high tolerances and they do like the concentrated version. We actually won first place for best cannabinoid alternative product at the Alt Pro Expo in July for our concentrates. So those are, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Now, hold on. You also, I love that you show like your lab results online, like
Mhm.
how good this
Yep,
stuff is and pure and
correct.
not, because some people are buying this type of stuff maybe where they shouldn't. So
Yep.
just so you know the quality of what they're buying from you, can you explain how that is all managed and obviously well documented and certified?
Absolutely. So to your point, yeah, there are a lot of other competitors that they take one lab result maybe every 2 years for their flower. They put it on their site. It's usually photoshopped or cropped or edited. it's not an accurate representation of the product at hand, where we do an every 5 month review. So essentially as the farms harvest, we go back and test every single batch individually. And then again, we do the full panel testing where most people only test for potency, which potency tells you how strong it is, but it doesn't tell you if
Hmm.
there's molds or bacterias or heavy metals or any
Ah,
of these other contaminants. So the difference is a potency test is about $50. A full panel is about 400. So we do a full panel test on every single flower. Started about 3 months ago, and we only have a couple left to get done. But all our new strains, everything coming out for the next infinite future is going to be full panel tested. We got a couple little tricks up our sleeves as well with some of our new releases in the next month or so. But even our vaporizers, our concentrates, all of it is going to be full panel tested by the end of the year.
wow,
And
wow, wow.
we don't even charge extra for it. It's just a service that we offer. We eat the difference. Because again, I believe that this is a product you're consuming. You should know that you're not inhaling bacteria or heavy metals, and a lot of these other guys are not being honest and they're not telling the full story.
Got it. Now, let me ask. I know you mentioned you suffer with the ADHD and you suffer with addiction, depression, open and honest book you are, which is great. Who helped you kind of change your life around? Is there someone in particular that you
Yeah.
credit for this?
Yeah, I had a couple mentors. Out of high school, it was just I was a wild child. I was traveling all over the country, partying in the most ridiculous college campuses across the country, and clubs and bars. I mean, I was having a great time. I was making a lot of money, and dropped out of college. Disagreed with a couple of my professors that uh, I felt like there was another path, and kind of got lost in that for a couple years. And then it gets depressing after a while because you can't set down roots, you can't build a
Yeah.
family, or really get too close to people. And so I constantly just was alone, which I backfilled with drugs and with alcohol and with women and other things. But I had one of my mentors tell me that you can build an empire, but if it's on a sand foundation, it will always collapse.
Oh
And I was
my
like,
goodness. Yeah.
man, so what does that mean? And he's like, well, you have two options. You can either build on sand and watch everything erode and wash into the ocean, and it'll be gone in a matter of years. Or if you focus, settle your roots, and build them on firm foundation, on rock, on something hard, something sturdy, guess what? The building's going to be there in 1,000 years. So if you build something, don't build it just in fast. I want to grow it. I just want to make it as big, as fast, as hard as possible. Sit down and really do the heavy lifting and work on yourself first, and then bring that into the team. Hire the people that are smarter than you, not the people that you like. Hire the people that are more professional than you, not the people that are just cheaper than you. And that's what we
Wow.
did. And it took a lot to swallow, because when you look at overhead and when you look at the price of labor, especially for, white collar, good established folks, it's
Yeah.
scary. It's scary, especially in the startup phase. And I attribute 99% of our success to our team. We did a lot of these other companies, they focus on the product and not their team. So they do have delays in their shipments. They do have things getting misplaced. They do have thefts. They do have accounting issues. We don't have that because we focused on the opposite. We focused on the team first, and then the products do the rest. So,
Wow.
that was one of my most valuable lessons, was make sure the foundation is firm, because then you have nowhere to go but up. It might take you a little longer, but on the hindsight of things, you
Yeah.
might lose a year or two doing it. In the long term, you'll never erode though. You'll never collapse.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing this. Very inspiring. And for our listeners out there today, want to make sure you're going to the website and doing the right thing, moderndistribution.com, gasboys.co, and on social media, how can we find you?
So we have Gas Boys Club, which is our meme page. We actually had it was Gas Boys USA. Unfortunately, the friendly folks at Meta
Uh,
evaporated that account.
ah,
We had some really good content creators. We had a bunch of brand ambassadors, and last about a week and a half ago, we just got a surprise, your account suspended. And so now we're starting from scratch again, but we do have our GB merch,
Why did
which
they
is,
suspend you? Just curious. Isn't it legal to promote your stuff, or was it?
but Meta has community guidelines, and some of those community guidelines are things like they don't recognize CBD, hemp, marijuana, even marijuana. Even if you're a recreational marijuana processor producer in a legal state like California, technically speaking, you're not in community guidelines standards.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
and
But they could show
unfortunate,
half naked girls all the time. Sure, that's
I,
within community
yeah,
standards. Just saying. Okay.
right, and some completely naked.
Oh, yeah, you do. I see that.
Yeah,
I mean, but
mhm,
okay.
yeah. So it's a really unfortunate double standard. I think we weren't even trying to promote or sell. We make it very clear on our social medias that nothing is for sale on these pages. It's more for lifestyle, meme culture, merch. Like we do have our Gas Boys merch going live in about 3 weeks. Uh, so that's all we were focused on. It wasn't like we were trying to solicit sales and we were
Yeah,
marketing and advertising products. We were just showing our culture, and they just said nope, shut it down. No
whatever.
strikes, no like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. It was
Yeah.
just walked in one morning and it was gone.
Oh my goodness. Well, sorry to hear
So
that, but glad everything else is going well for you and you're
yes, ma'am.
hurdling over that hurdle and you're working on stuff again. Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. In our last 5 minutes for today's show, what else did you want to share with us, Dustin, about, clearly your products, about, you mentioned you everything from design to custom cartons and packaging too. And this is
Yep.
all in-house, these labels. I mean, that's
Mhm.
something also pretty amazing too.
Yep. The only thing that we don't do in house is the Mylar actual, like, creating the bags.
Okay.
Obviously, that's a huge infrastructure, a task to take on. So we do outsource the actual Mylar bags that we use. But we do all the design. We've got 4 graphic designers now, that they're working around the clock between the merch, between the actual products, our advertisements, our email blasts. They are constantly busy. So yeah, we've done a big push on getting our advertisements to a place that we're happy with. That was something that we lacked on for a little while, but I think you're probably going to have some billboards in the areas. You're going to have
Yay.
some things like this. We want to do more podcasts. We're actually talking to a couple fairly well-known podcasters down in Florida about having us on as well. So might be some more music to people's ears.
Great. Well, exciting to have you here and so, I mean, proud. I mean, is your family proud of all you've achieved?
Yeah, and it's funny because during my 20s, is, oh, you're just a drug dealer. This is never gonna work. You'll never. I even had my principal from elementary into middle school. Pretty much come out about a year ago and was like, I was so wrong about you. And yeah, that was
I got
huge.
goosebumps. That
Yeah,
must mean so much, right?
yeah, it was cool
Oh,
because at the end of the day, when you're told and told and told, and when you kick a dog, at a certain point, the dog's going to bite back. And this is, I guess, my revenge tour, per se. So we're very happy with things. I'm just happy to be able to do what we do. And that's the big push that I want to, leave, I guess, on is the lobbying aspect. We need to make sure that the voices are heard in not only local government, but also in the federal government.
yeah.
So if you guys are using these hemp products, check in with your local stores, check in
Hmm.
with your congressional members, let them know how much these products mean to you and that you do want to keep them. We don't want to have another prohibition. We don't. It would be bad for not only our industry, but for the people that rely on us. And then it's
Yep.
just going to send them back to the black market, which is the
Absolutely.
last place that we want everybody going.
Well, thank you so much. Pleasure having you here, and excited
Yeah.
that you're part of this now. And I'm looking orange creamsicle. I'm looking back at the website. The
Mhm.
purple punch. I love these names and stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well,
Yep.
thank you so much for being here, and excited. Pablo's driver, an
Yeah.
Oasis, Half Junkie.
Yeah.
We got to talk more
Just check
about this. How did
check
you come
back.
up with the name? Hold on, let me just. How did you come up with the name Gas Boys? By the way.
So we threw out a bunch of different ideas, and Gas Boys just kind of stuck because it rolled off
Awesome.
the tongue so well.
Yeah.
there wasn't really a thought process behind it. We wanted something that was going to be nostalgic, that we could kind of play on the retro Americana vibes. And that's kind of what we've done. We've do a lot of pinup work. We do a lot of vintage, military and automobiles and space, all that 60s kind of nostalgia, which I think is coming back. A lot of merch companies and a lot of clothing brands are bringing that style back. And I think it's, styles are cyclical, right? So, everybody thought that the skinny jeans were in, and now it's the mom jeans, right? So
I
we kind of
know,
did
right?
using that same thought process. We're like, okay, we don't want to do the 80s. We don't, that was more of a cocaine era. We want to do something that was like coming back from Vietnam almost. And that's kind of where it came from.
Great. Well, thank you again. Pleasure having you here.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you reach out. Are we back again next week?
I think it's the week after.
Sweet. Even if we can, I don't know if you could share your screen to show some of the products if you want to, or
Absolutely.
bring someone on. You can bring an employee on, or, one of your customers. I mean, to talk more about this. This is awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So Dustin Brauns, congrats on all this. Gasboys.com and Modern Distribution. What is it again? The second website?
Moderndistribution.com is our wholesale website. That's
Got
where
it.
everybody that has stores, has businesses. It's a business to business platform.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You have a fantastic
Yes,
day. To all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.